Are you hungry to learn about Hungary?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you know anything about Hungary yet?
It's in Europe.
It is in Europe. Did you find it on the map already?
No.
Well, here you go. I can help with that. It is in Eastern Europe. And I think all of the countries we've learned about so far have been Western Europe, like Portugal and Spain and France and Germany. But Hungary is the first one we'll learn about in Eastern Europe. And Eastern Europe has a little bit of a different culture than Western Europe. But is there anything that stands out to you about the country of Hungary looking at this map?
It's landlocked. I found
Exactly.
it.
It's just like Paraguay that we learned about. And so here's a photo, again, of all the landlocked countries. And you can see most of them are in Africa and some are in Asia, but there are a few in Europe. And Hungary is one of these small little ones right in Eastern Europe. Here are some of the people that live in Hungary. So it's a climate that has winter and summer. It's very similar to Pennsylvania, where it has all the different seasons. And so you'll see kids in short sleeves, you'll see kids in long sleeves, you'll even see kids in traditional sleeves. And this is some photos of sort of what the traditional clothing looks like that they wore back in the old day or in traditional families. What do you think?
The baby is so cute.
I agree. Super duper cute. Do you think you guys should wear stuff like this to school? That could be the uniform. Everyone can wear that to school. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I like it.
You like it? Maybe you could wear some headgear like this too. Thoughts?
Yeah.
It's pretty flowers, right? And here are some of the adults. And in Eastern Europe, sometimes people have really big mustaches. Look at this guy. He's got a big, bushy mustache. And he's not the only one. Look at this guy. He's got a mustache and a cool cap. Look how big that is. It's like a whole head of hair on his lip. This is their prime minister. So in Hungary, they have a prime minister similar to like in Canada, similar to the president. So here's actually a picture of President Trump with the prime minister of Hungary. But this is the guy, and he works out of this big palace, a huge palace. So this is their equivalent of the White House. It's not exactly white, but it is beautiful, and it's right along a river. What do you think? Is that house big enough for the prime minister and his team of governors?
Yeah.
Looks big enough. Here's a photo of Budapest, which is the capital city where the parliament is and really their main city. And it has a giant river that goes through called the Danube River. And it's pretty nice when you get the sunset. And you can go up on a hill. That's where this photo is taken from. And you can look out over the city. And it's really nice at nighttime, too. I got to go up on this hill and take this kind of photo over top the city when it was dark out. And this is what it looks like during the day when the sun is shining and the sky is blue. Again, you can see the palace, and you can see it gets really, really green in the summer. It's really quite nice. And there will be boats on the water. You could go out and take a tour, do a ferry on the water. Lots of fun stuff. And here's how long the river is, the Danube River. It goes not just through Hungary, but it goes through Austria and Germany. It comes all the way over through Croatia and Romania and dumps into the Black Sea. So it's really, really big, much larger than just in Budapest. And it's really pretty in some parts too. Here's some of the prettiness once you get outside the city. It could be quite nice. And guess how long, like, have you thought about how long it is? We learned about some pretty long rivers, right? Do you remember any long rivers?
Nile River.
Nile's the longest one. Good memory. So that's the longest, and Aunt Adrian taught you about that with Egypt. Do you remember the second longest?
No. The Amazon.
Amazon River, that's right, through South America.
Yeah. Then the Yangtze.
Yeah, the Yangtze. That one's in China, I believe. Yeah, China. But there's a lot of really, really big ones. And the Danube is number 30. It's the 30th largest river in the world. So it's a pretty big one. Pretty big. But only 10% of it is in Hungary. So only 1/10 of the river is in Hungary. That's like, if you think of your body, it's like just your one leg, your left leg from your knee down. That's all. That's how much of the Danube River is there. Not that much. Do you think Hungary is a big country or a small country?
Smaller than most, but it's not really small.
That is correct. It is right in the middle, so it's a medium size. It's about the same size as Haiti or Portugal. They're all right around 10 million people. The Czech Republic, which we'll learn about at some point, is also around 10 million. And a lot of the other ones on here too, like Switzerland. So yeah, medium-sized country. But it used to be a lot bigger. It was part of the Ottoman Empire. Do you remember us talking about the Ottoman Empire?
No, but we do know about one empire.
Which empire do you know about?
Darth Vader.
The Empire That Strikes Back. I heard you guys just watched Star Wars for the first time.
We watched that movie yesterday.
How was it?
Great.
What did you like about it?
I don't like the guy who's in charge. The emperor. The emperor who's in charge of Darth Vader. Yeah, he's creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes these countries that are really big and go and conquer other places or galaxies, they can be a little bit mean.
That used to be Hungary.
This used to be the Ottoman Empire, so it predates Hungary. Now this is like 10 or 12 different countries, but Hungary was one of them. Hungary is right up here where it says Budapest.
We know, because in the second movie that we watched yesterday, we realized that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's dad, and now we know in the first one.
You're gonna ruin it for all the people who haven't watched the movie. You gotta keep it a secret.
Why the person? Don't tell. Why the didn't want?
She really wants us to know. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Nothing just happened.
Back.
Don't listen to
Hungary?
her. Don't listen to her. Don't listen.
Hungary has lots of castles. They have cool castles, not tons, not as many as Germany or Ireland, but they have a lot. And sometimes it gets really snowy. And remember, the castles are often up on top of the hill, so it's harder for people to invade them. They've got walls to protect them. But look how beautiful it is, along the river, up on a hill, in the snow. Would you guys like to live in a castle?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Would you be like Anna and Elsa, or would it be different? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe you would have magical powers if you lived in a castle.
Yeah.
You would have guardian fairies too.
Yeah.
Here are some photos of Budapest in winter, and you can see sometimes the water ices over and folks can go around. I don't know if this is the river actually, but some bodies of water, usually lakes, bodies of water that aren't moving, will ice over. And actually, here's a photo of the river, so it does seem that it does get a bit icy. I was there in December, but the river wasn't covered in ice when I was there. But I did see Santa. I saw Santa when I went there in December. He was hanging around. He was, look at this. Does this guy look familiar? This little monkey?
Yeah. Sock monkey with a Christmas hat.
He's got a sock monkey.
We know that sock
Mm-hmm.
monkey. Let's get, I want to get him.
Yeah, I was going to dinner. I was just walking to dinner, and there was Santa. He was hanging out, greeting people for Christmas.
Sock monkey.
Oh, we
And
can get this
Budapest.
up. Not right now.
Budapest is actually really the only major city in Hungary. They have a lot of smaller ones, but most people live in Budapest, which is the one we were just looking at. And how do you think I got to Hungary? You know, it's a landlocked country. So do you think I went by plane, by car, bus, or train?
Train.
What do you think, Hayden?
Airplane or train?
You guys are good. I went by a train. In fact, they have tons of trains in Europe. So many more trains.
How did you go over the water?
Well, I started by flying. I flew into Germany, and then with all these trains all around Europe, I went from one city to another city and one country to another country. And I was in the Czech Republic in the city of Prague, which we'll learn about at some point. And I took this train all the way over to Budapest. But you know what was funny? Well, there's a few things that were funny about that train ride. Here's a photo of what they look like. So they go really, really fast, and they're kind of funky looking. They
It's called
go
a bullet train.
faster than cars. Yeah, bullet train or high-speed train. Really, really fast.
I
And one
learned
of the
about.
things you learned about them. What did you learn?
Well, they were inspired by a hummingbird.
Wow,
Did you
I didn't
know
even
that?
know that.
Because when before they like made that slanted part in the top, it was just like one big part, and so it just went like that, and when it came into the tunnel and stopped, it made a huge noise.
Wow.
So loud. And then the people who built it, like looked at a hummingbird, and it dived into the water. It didn't make any sound or splash because of the curve on its head, and so they decided to make bullet trains like that.
That's so cool. How did you learn about that? Where did you learn that?
We were learning about nature and like what things, how things
Cool.
inspire nature. There's a picture of it.
Yeah,
The
I just
world
pulled up
is
the picture.
poorly designed, but copying nature helps.
Yeah, you know, I've heard a few stories like that. Like they're starting to design planes to be more like birds now too, and looking at things, different animals and aspects of nature that we can learn from. It's really quite cool.
I learned about it this school year.
I'm glad you taught me. I learned about it today. So one of the things I got to see on that train ride was countryside, and it wasn't quite this green because I was going in December, but you can see how beautiful some of the countryside is.
Whoa, look, he's looking in such a green place, look.
Super green.
It's above your picture. Third row, the one before the last one. No, wait.
Oh, you're talking about the guy at the house with all the green grass?
No, the with the pig.
The guy with the dogs?
Yeah. That looks like a pig. So green.
I don't know. Do people pet pigs? I feel like people typically pet dogs, not pigs. I don't know. Some people have pet pigs, I'm sure. But one of the things that's interesting is on the trains, you can actually go to sleep. They have beds on the trains because the trains will go overnight. So they have rooms like this with really, really small beds, and there's 6 beds in one little room, all stacked up on top, and you get up to your bed with a ladder. What do you think? Do you want to live in a room with 6 kids all tucked in?
Yeah. No.
Yeah? Well,
yeah. Yes.
maybe when you're older, you will. That's what a lot of people do when they travel. Because if you have one room to yourself, that can be expensive. But if you share one room with 6 people and everyone shares the cost, it's much cheaper. So imagine you got a cake and it was $10, right? You could pay $10 for a cake, or you could split it with 5 other people, and then you only pay $2 for part of the cake. And that's kind of the same thing that happens with rooms. I thought I had another picture here. Maybe it's later. But that's something that a lot of people do when they're traveling, including me. When I was younger and I didn't have as much money, I would stay in rooms like that. There's also some really beautiful parts to Hungary, of course, one of which is Margaret Island. It's got nice, pretty water, and that's right in the middle of the river. But what was funny when I went is we got off the train too early, and we didn't know. So we got off the train one stop early, and we didn't have cell phones at the time. I was much younger when I visited. And so we got off the train, and we were walking around, and this is where we were walking around. And there was all these buildings that looked the same, and everyone told us that Hungary was so beautiful, and there was this beautiful water. And we're walking around here very confused and not knowing the language and just kind of looking for the water. Here's the hostel I was going to show you, some of the different rooms that we could stay in. But this was my friend Harry and I, and we were walking around with our backpacks. And we put all our clothes in a big backpack and all of our stuff, our computer, a sleeping bag, and we just walked around like this, looking for the beautiful city of Budapest. And we walked for 2 hours among those tall buildings. And then finally we asked someone for help, and they were like, "You aren't in Budapest. That's the next town." And so we had to get back on the train and go over. And when we finally got there, we celebrated by getting in hot tubs, or what they call thermal baths. And this is a very common activity people like to do. What do you think? Would you want to go in a giant hot tub?
They're beautiful. Yes. They are. Yes.
What's your favorite thing about hot tubs? Or pools? Why do you like them?
You can swim and relax in them. It's water. It's like a big thing of water, and you just get in it. Like this.
Oh, like that? I can imagine it now. I'm imagining myself on a floaty, maybe taking a nap in the sun.
Yeah,
But
that would be
that's
nice.
in the pool. In the hot tubs, that's where you go in December when it's really, really cold. And that's what we got to do. And after that, we were so hungry from all our exploring and our train ride and our
Hungry.
bath time that we got
Hungry.
some food. Yeah. Hungry,
You are
hungry. And
Hungry.
when Hungarians are hungry, the thing that they most often eat is called goulash, which is kind of like a soup or a stew with meat and vegetables and all kinds of yummy things. They also put in paprika into their goulash. Do you guys know paprika?
Peppers.
Yeah, it's kind of like peppers, and they ground it up into a little
Spicy
spice.
peppers. Look at that old woman. Those are old women burying herself in those.
Oh, right here? Yeah, she must really like peppers. Maybe that's what she does for business. Oh my goodness, look how many peppers there are in this field. Can you even imagine? You could do snow angels, except instead of snow, it's pepper angels. They also like to eat what they call langos, which is basically pizza. It's like a different version of pizza. And we got to walk around their central market, and it was this big, beautiful place where everyone comes and they sell their spices, and they sell their foods, and they sell clothes. And these are some of the things that we saw. So we saw some vegetables that we could buy. We saw a bunch of big sausages cooking, and all kinds of yummy stuff. This is their culture. They like to wear big flowy things.
Why there two a car bowl of Yetis? Yeah. So
Yes?
one on first row.
I actually have no idea. Some countries have very different and interesting historical festivals, and so they must have some kind of festival where they dress up like this, and I don't even know why. They also have these little traditional figurines or trinkets, lots and lots of those.
They're so cute.
Here's one of their traditional prints, so some of the historical art. Oh, look at these little cute icons. And then they like to go out in the streets and dance with their flowy dresses. I think that's pretty universal. People like to do that. They like football. No surprises there. But also they're famous for water polo. Do you guys know about water polo?
No.
It's a sport you play in the pool where you have a ball and you're trying to throw it in a goal on the other side. And they are known for being the best country in the world at water polo. It's one of the Olympic sports, actually. It's like basketball, except in a pool, and you can tackle each other, kind of.
You can also play Marco Polo in the pool.
It's a great game.
What's Marco Polo?
So
Gwen, would you like to share?
the person who is it says Marco, and then the people who are not it just say Polo, and then the person tries to like get to that person, to get to the other people by like hearing where their voices is, and then if they tag the person, then that person is it.
Why does the person who's Marco not just look at them and go find them?
Because they'll be cheating.
Well, you didn't mention.
They'll be weird.
Your eyes have to be
Your
closed.
eyes have to be closed.
I think this is the original guy. His name was Marco Polo, and here he is in the pool in his traditional clothing, teaching the kids how to play Marco Polo. And he's saying, remember, you have to close your eyes before you say Marco, and the rest say Polo.
There's a camel.
Boy.
There was a camel
Animals.
in the background.
There was a camel in the background.
That's so weird. Choppy.
That is my spirit animal.
It's so cute.
It's basically, if I were an animal, that's what I would look like.
Well, it's so cute. Where's its eyes?
I don't know. Maybe it's the eyes are closed. Maybe it doesn't have eyes. They have a lot of similar animals to what you would find in the US, though. Cats and lambs and pigs, some wolves. But you know what they have that's the cutest and the most interesting is funky looking dogs. Look at this doggo. It looks like a mop. It looks like something you would clean the floor with, but it also looks cute. I like it. This one won a trophy. Did you know that there are games where dogs are competing to see who's the best dog?
That's weird.
No.
It is weird, a little bit weird, but they make them all beautiful. So they vote on who's the prettiest dog and who's the best behaved dog and who's the best dog at jumping. And then they give them trophies. And it's basically the good boy award. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good girl? Are you a good girl?
Oh, look at that guy. He's interested at the camera.
The doggo?
Well, second
this
one,
one.
fourth one.
It's a selfie for sure.
He
He's
likes
like-
the camera.
He's like, please like my photo. I just want
Yeah.
you to like me.
Yeah.
So that is Hungary. What do you think?
Good.
Hayden,
What
this-
would you want to know more about? Do you want to know more about the crazy animals? Do you want to know more about the history, the food, anything?
The animals.
The guys with the mustaches?
The animals.
Learn about the buildings, the animals? I don't know much more about the animals. We've got this llama. Maybe the llama could teach us some things.
Yeah, the llamas are good. Oh my god, that thing is so cute, whatever it is. That's a ginormous.
Oh, there's a gorilla.
Oh yeah,
Gorilla.
gorilla. A
Maybe that's in the zoo.
gorilla.
Pretty sure that one's in the zoo. He doesn't look like the
It's a
happiest gorilla.
gorilla.
Well, any other questions? They don't have to be about Hungary. We can do the same thing as yesterday. You can ask me one question about anything.
What's your favorite piece of furniture?
Like the favorite piece of furniture that I own or my favorite piece of furniture in general?
In general.
And the whole world. What's your favorite piece of in the whole world?
I'm a pretty big fan of the chair that you're sitting in right now, Quinn. I think it's a really nice chair. It like keeps you at a good height. It's really stable. Yeah, let's show that off.
What about
It's a good color. You could even paint that other colors. You could paint on top of it.
my chair?
Wow, that's also a really good chair. I like those chairs. Chairs are great. I feel like chairs are underrated, you know? Like everyone wants to talk about their bed or their sofa or other kinds of fancy furniture, but chairs are just solid. They're always there for you, you know? What's your question, Hayden?
Do you like chickens?
Do I like chickens? Sure, I like chickens.
Then why did you kill them? Why did you
What?
kill it?
You talking about the
You-
time in Haiti?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. That was 10 years ago. And that was before I stopped eating animals. I've been eating vegetarian for the past 2 years. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people still eat animals. So
The reason I eat animals is because they're already dead, and I can't help that they're already dead. I can't control that animals are already dead, and so I eat it, and it's delicious.
they are delicious. I'll give you that. They do taste really, really
I
good,
I
oftentimes.
want to be a vegetarian with you.
Well,
I don't like eating animals.
And they're
well,
already
I'm
dead.
happy to teach you about being a vegetarian anytime.
Can you do it right now?
Do
Right
you
now,
think if you're a vegetarian, does it matter to try different foods, like a lot of different vegetables and things like beans?
definitely. Definitely. The most important thing if you're going to stop eating animals is making sure you get good protein, because animals have a lot of protein, and you need protein to be healthy and to grow. Otherwise, you'll be very weak. And so there
Yeah,
are certain types of
Daddy
vegetables.
Recently, Daddy has been eating so much protein. He's been eating
Wow.
a lot of salami and a lot of bacon.
I see. Well, they also have a lot of fat, which vegetables don't have. So most animals have a lot of protein in their meat, and they have fat. But yeah, if you're going to eat a lot of vegetables, if you want to be vegetarian, you have to make sure you eat things with lots of protein, which is tofu, and there's all kinds of like soy proteins and beans, and lots of vegetables have them, but you got to make sure you get enough protein. That's
So
the most
you're gonna
important.
start eating beans, Abe?
No.
When you start eating beans regularly and liking them and eating more vegetables, if you want to try being a
I'll
vegetarian.
eat more vegetables, but not beans.
I can send you a list of all the different vegetables that have protein in them, and you can pick the ones you like. and you can have a
Wait,
conversation
you
with your
can
mommy
send
and
me
daddy.
all the things. You can send me all the things that vegetarians eat. Can you please do that?
Yeah, I'll send it to your mom, and then you guys can talk about it, if that's okay with you, Rach.
Yeah, you can send it. Be an eye opener for her.
Cool.
All right, guys. Time to get on with our school day. Well,
All right,
actually, I
y'all.
have one question first.
I'm erasing you from this world.
What do you guys think of Uncle Drew's shirt?
Strange.
Weird.
What?
Weird.
What have you done to Paddington?
Yeah.
That's Paddington? I didn't even know who Paddington is. I just saw a cute little guy wearing a cool hat and a chain, and he had his arms crossed, and he had cool shoes. And I was like, you know,
What
I
have
want to
you
be friends
done
with this guy.
to Paddington?
I don't think I did anything. He did it to himself, and then he just appeared on my shirt. This is a good advertisement for Polo Bear by Ralph Lauren. Not that I really have ever bought anything by Ralph Lauren, but apparently I have a shirt from them now.
All right.
Okay.
Time to
Ciao.
say goodbye.
Bye.